From beautiful beaches to million-dollar mansions, Los Angeles County is big and rich. But the county also has a certain dark side. It's thousands of homeless, and they're not just on Skid Row in downtown LA. They're also in the northern tip of the county, where some you'll notice and some you won't.
Just because I'm homeless, I don't have to look homeless.
And he doesn't. From his pristine backpack and clean clothes to his shiny bike and bright white shoes, Fred Smith isn't someone who stands out as homeless. After a daily morning job search, Fred stops by an iconic Lancaster landmark he simply calls the plane. The Aerospace Walk of Honor at Boeing Plaza with this plane is a symbol of Antelope Valley innovation and accomplishment. It's also a makeshift shelter for the area's homeless and unemployed.
People come here and share food with you, or help you out with maybe a hat or some gloves or something. It's just a place to be without being in the way of other people.
The next stop is the Lancaster Library to use the computer and get on the internet. After that, he'll typically check his mail at Grace Resources, where 1,600 other homeless get their mail too, because they don't have a permanent mailing address.
Hi Fred, how are you today?
I'm good.
Good?
For Fred, he says his faith keeps him going. One of his favorite Bible verses is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
Because this has got to be temporary.
Unlike Fred, some people spend their day here in the field, just yards from the shelter entrance.
Just knowing I'm in there, like a few times when I didn't get in the summer, I was out there, I sleep in the field, and you got to sleep with one eye open, pretty much, because you know people walk by you, or you hear people coming around, and heard some sad things about some of the homeless guys, the older ones, getting hurt, you know, by people just trying to take their stuff.
That's not the only reason it's difficult to be homeless in the AV.
We get down into the teens every year, and we go up over 110 every year for several days, months.
And so the city's been working very hard to get us into a new facility. And that was part of that Amendment A that was we tried to pass a few months ago, and it didn't pass. And that was going to raise funds for the city to get a bond that would build us a new shelter, a food bank, a day center for the homeless folks, a veterans area, a little area where we could have some folks staying in tents as kind of a pilot program, but we would be able to increase our beds from 100 to 400 beds and eventually up to 600 beds.
Some have questioned why there are so many homeless in this part of Los Angeles County, given the greater Antelope Valley total population of just over 560,000.
We used to get a lot of folks from LA that would get on the train and ride for free. Metrolink came to the table finally, and they had a conversation. They realized they needed to step it up. So now they have a zero tolerance for free rides, and it's really, I don't see hardly anybody coming up here on the train to get help. It's just not worth it.
But you did before.
We did before, a lot, over 100 a day.
However, now the people who track the numbers confirm it's changed. For all of Los Angeles County,
it's about 25,000 people are homeless, and we have 3,800 in the Antelope Valley.
Like Fred, he also has family here, but he doesn't live with them because he doesn't want to be a bother.
My son and my stepdaughter live here in Lancaster. He's 19 years old, and he's doing real good, so I'm very proud of him. And I just don't want to interfere with what he's got going on.
Each evening at about 4:15, the sidewalks in front of the Lancaster Community Shelter start emptying, and Antelope Valley's homeless retire for the evening. But some, like Fred, continue to think about and pray about the better day that can be tomorrow.
I refuse to accept the fact that I have to live like this for a long period of time. You know, I know that there's jobs out there and there's places to live and stuff, you know, it's just taking a little time.
In Lancaster, Barbara Sharp for Spectrum News.